What is up, guys? This is Logan, also known as Elixir on Pokemon Showdown, and today we're going to be talking about Generation 3 1v1, one of my favorite tiers and one that I specialize in. This video is just going to be talking about my ranks for Gen 3 1v1. I'm going to talk about just some dynamics of Gen 3, and I hope you guys learn a lot by me kind of going through my rankings and what each Pokemon should do. This should be a good source for like people who want to do well in Classic, because it's the last cup in Classic and everyone's going to be scrambling to do really good in that cup so that they can qualify for playoffs. And also, I just think it's a really fun tier that people have a lot of misconceptions of. So yeah, first thing, just some quick previews. The things that make Generation 3 unique is the physical special split. So the way to remember it is, so like so move types are either always physical or special. So like all dark type moves are special, even something like Crunch, which you'd think is like more physical. Also, like Fire Punch is always special because it's a fire move. The way to remember it is that all of the evolutions plus Dragon are special and everything else is physical, which, yes, means that Ghost is a physical type in this generation, attacking wise. But anyway, let's get right to it. So in my first section, we have Raikou and Zapdos. These Pokemon are the best Pokemon in the tier, and they're kind of like, I'd say like Zapdos is like the face of Generation 3 1v1. If you notice, they both have this ability called Pressure, which decreases the target's move by 1 power point every single time, which what they usually do is there's a strategy called Substitute Protect Stall with leftovers. And because this is another thing, in Generation 3, there's no Choice Scarf or Choice Specs. There's only Choice Band, which I actually like. It adds something unique. So like you always know that Raikou can usually outspeed Zapdos and a lot of other things. But what you do is, for Pokemon that are Choice Locked, you can do Substitute and Protect and stall out their power points of a move with Pressure. So for example, a classic interaction is Zapdos using Substitute and Protect versus like a banded Metagross trying to hit it with Rock Slide. So Rock Slide will only have 8 power points versus Zapdos, and with leftovers, Zapdos can stall out 8 Rock Slides, and then Metagross will start struggling. Zapdos can either like rest, or Zapdos can just start hitting it, and Zapdos is going to win. So that's always something that you need to prepare for. And there's other Pokemon that do it later with Pressure Stall, but these two are the most notable. Anyway, getting back to Raikou, I'd say Raikou is still the best Pokemon in the tier because it's like the most solid Zapdos check. Like there's no Zapdos that can beat a Raikou. What Raikou does is you usually run 252, 252. Timid is standard, but I really think Modest is better. The only reason you run Timid on Raikou is for, I guess, Espeon, and also speed tying other Raikou, so that is important. So you can just keep Timid as like a more standard set, but what Raikou's main thing is over Zapdos is Calm Mind. Calm Mind, Substitute, Protect, Thunderbolt. This is the standard Raikou set. What it does is you can Calm Mind on a lot of like special attackers in the tier and just beat them, like straight up, to be honest. There's other options that you can run on Raikou. This is a set that I made, which is a little bit more technical Raikou. So what I wanted this Raikou to do for my team when I used it was Crunch is a really cool technique so that Raikou beats Alakazam. You 2-hit with these EVs, you 2-hit KO with Crunch even if they Calm Mind, and you'll always tank 2 Psychics because of the little bit of Spadef plus leftovers that you have. Calm Mind, Thunderbolt, Crunch, and because I'm using another coverage move, you can run Sub over Rest, but you can't really Pressure Stall anything without Substitute plus Protect. So Rest is just kind of a nice move that beats some faster toxic Pokemon, but I'll get to that later. So yeah, that's basically Raikou. Raikou is kind of like the more, I guess, offensive version of Zapdos. Zapdos, on the other hand, Zapdos should always be running Substitute Protect, in my opinion, because it doesn't have Calm Mind. But Because of Zapdos's bulk, it runs Substitute Protect better. Because, for example, like Marowak is a big problem in the tier because with Bone Meringue, when it hits twice, you take down Raikou. Zapdos beats Marowak. So just like stuff like that, it's just less able to be beat the Substitute Protect style. You can run a lot of different EVs. I think one good one is if we look at like Salamence. Let's say it runs like 252. Often they just go Adamant, so 299. Let's say you want to outspeed 299. You can go like Timid and like just hit like 300. And then you can like invest in like HP. You want to have an optimal leftovers number, something that's divisible by like 16 or something like that. So like, so this is divisible by 16. I think, yeah, it is. And then you could just pump the rest in defense. You could use some special attack because often Zapdos obviously runs Thunderbolt, but what's really good on Zapdos is Hidden Power Grass because it's a Swampert check. It's a very good Swampert answer that you can slap on a team. And Hidden Power Grass also secures the Marowak matchup. So you can run like a little bit of special attack for that, pop the rest in defense, and you got yourself a good Zapdos. Other fourth move options that are common on Zapdos are Rest. Rest is like, so let's say you pressure stall something down to it using Struggle, and you're low on HP, you can use Rest, and that will beat most strategies that are trying to beat Substitute Protect in the first place. Like, if a Metagross is running Return to, I'll talk about that later, but anyway, Rest is common. Toxic is a good option for not anything in specific, but it just kind of can break down some random crap like non-Rest Blissey. I've seen Metal Sound. Metal Sound is a really cool idea. That's pretty much it. Like, you could maybe tech some other stuff, like if you want to be mean and go Thunder Wave or something, but that's really Zapdos for you. Yeah. Next is Tyranitar. Tyranitar is the mainstay for countering these two electric types in their pressure stall because of Sandstream, because Sandstream nullifies leftovers. So you can literally just run Rock Slide. I like Hidden Power Rock because it's a better Rock Slide. The reason for that is that we look at Hidden Power Rock and Rock Slide. Hidden Power Rock Slide is 75 power. It can miss and it only has 16 pressure points. Hidden Power Rock will never miss. Has 8 more pressure. Has 8 more power points, and just sacrifices 5 power and a flinch chance. This makes it a lot more solid versus Zapdos, so you don't miss. But you can literally run no EVs Tyranitar and just click Hidden Power Rock and Earthquake on these two Pokemon and win. So yeah, that's really clutch. So Tyranitar is really good at doing that. You'll often see like a Choice Band set that runs these two, and then like Brick Break for other Tyranitar, and Hidden Power Bug because people think Celebi is good when Celebi is not good, but it's whatever. Hidden Power... Oh, well, I guess if you run Hidden Power Bug, then you have to run Rock Slide. Again, that's why you don't run Hidden Power Bug. And they'll go like this. They might even go Jolly to get the speed tie on other Tyranitars, but yeah, that's the common Tyranitar set. I don't like that Tyranitar set. I think Tyranitar is much more versatile. A very, very good set is Taunt Dragon, is not Dragon Claw, that's special. The idea with Taunt Dragon Dance Tyranitar is that you don't lose to counter Pokemon like Blissey, and you can also beat Registeel by using Taunt Dragon Dance and then like using Earthquake a lot. So it's a very cool technique, and because you're a Tyranitar, you still casually beat these two electric types. Honestly, on this set, this is all I needed. All I needed was the speed and the attack, and I beat what I wanted, so then I just maximized the rest for what I wanted it to do, and that's what's great about Tyranitar. Next in the tier, a very big threat is also Metagross. I'd say Metagross is the epitome of the like the benchmark Pokemon for what a lot of Pokemon should try to bulk for just to be generally solid. A lot of people like to use a band set that might have like 252 adamant, like Metagross's 252 adamant, Meteor Mash, and Earthquake are things to look out for to make sure that your team can handle. If you're running a counter Pokemon, usually you want it to be able to like tank one of those, because Metagross is often running Choice Band, and they might even run 252 speed, although I think Metagross with some bulk is always important. Some other coverage moves that it can run, these two are mandatory so that you can have a chance versus other Metagross. You hit Raikou, and Meteor Mash is just your best stab for demolishing a bunch of stuff. Some other coverage options I've seen are Rock Slide. You can run, like... I really like Aerial Ace. With specific EVs, you can beat Heracross with Aerial Ace because they can't kill you with a reversal. Sludge Bomb is really cool for nuking, like, Sceptile. Like a defensive Sceptile, and also beating niche threats like Meganium or like even like Ludicolo. But you can also run Hidden Power Bug if you're afraid of Celebi, even though Celebi is absolutely garbage. Celebi is just a worse Sceptile. One really cool tech that I think is maybe one of my favorites that I came up with is you can run Dynamic Punch on Metagross. You might think 50% accuracy, why would you use that? Well, it beats... Oh, wait, it's right here. Wait, what the... Oh, yeah. It beats Blissey, because Blissey will often run counter and, like, 252 defense, and you can tank a Meteor Mash, but you can't take a Dynamic Punch. And Dynamic Punch, it doesn't matter how many times you miss, because Blissey can't damage you back until you hit it, and when you do hit it, you'll kill it. So that is one of my... favorite techniques that I came up with is Dynamic Punch. And with specific EVs, you can run Return. I'll show you an example. This is like an example of a banded Metagross set that I really enjoy with specific EVs. So 176 Jolly is to outspeed stuff that mainly to outspeed a Metagross that is only running 252 speed and adamant. So you can 2-hit KO with Earthquake. The HP lives a 252 plus banded Metagross Earthquake. And the HP plus the special defense means that Raikou can not 3-hit KO you with Thunderbolt. Even if it's modest, it will not be able to 3-hit KO with Thunderbolt. And how do you beat it when it's substitute and protects though? You run Return. What Return does is it's like the anti-pressure stall move if you have enough attack. It has 32 pressure or power points, which perfectly beats the substitute protect strategy, unless they have like rest, which Raikou rarely does, except that one. So Return is really, this is like anti-Raikou Metagross with Aerial Ace to beat Heracross. This is a very focused Metagross on what it does. I also enjoy, like, I've ran Agility with Lychee Berry as another solid way to beat both, as a more solid way to beat these two. You run like I think it's like you run Agility, Meteor Mash, Earthquake, and Rock Slide. So this is also really good. This just beats these two, and you can also tech for Salamence and Metagross with it. And lastly, I also really like the idea on Metagross of running... You still run Choice Band, you still run your good old Meteor Mash, Earthquake, but you can utilize Icy Wind to lure in Salamence with enough defense and some special attack, because just like Tyranitar, they for some reason gave Metagross usable special attack, and you can even run Hidden Power Grass to lure Swampert, which is very cool. I have yet to build around it, but this is another very cool set. You obviously, I think you run like... I think you can actually still run minus special attack and do some stuff. You'd have to EV it for yourself, but it's a cool idea. Registeel is simultaneously the best and worst Pokemon in Generation 3. This is what you run. You run 252. This is optimal with Impish. Leftovers, and what makes it nuts is that it has access to both Iron Defense and the coveted Amnesia with Clear Body, so nothing can like lower your stats, with Rest and Seismic Toss. This thing becomes an absolute monster that can stall out every single one of these Pokemon. Like, you can beat every single one of these unless you're that taunt Dragon Dance one. But what makes it even more threatening, but what also makes Registeel the worst Pokemon in the game, is that if you get crit, you usually lose. So Choice Band Metagross can just keep hitting it with Earthquake, and it can sometimes put too much pressure on Registeel before it can get Seismic Tosses off, and one crit and Registeel is dead. So that's what also makes it kind of shaky, but you pretty much check, in theory, most Pokemon in the game with this set. Another thing that is cool is over Seismic Toss, you can run Counter. This is basically trying to be a more solid answer to these Pokemon, and hoping that they're not something fancy like Substitute or something like that. With Counter, you can also tank like a Choice Banded Medicham high jump kick and KO back, which is also kind of nuts. So yeah, that's just some cool Registeel tech. And next we're going to talk about Marowak. Marowak is like kind of a recent, not innovation, but I think we've started to realize how good it is because of its access to Bone Meringue. Bone Meringue is the anti-substitute move because it hits twice in one turn and it's stupidly strong. So, like, for example, you can just, it's the most solid answer to the best Pokemon in the game, which is Raikou, because you just Bone Meringue on the substitute and it can't pressure stall you because it hits twice. And not only that, but Marowak basically has access to a Choice Band with Thick Club, except it can switch moves. So you can run like Swords Dance and Bone Meringue, as well as like Sub. You could do Aerial Ace for Heracross, you could do Rock Slide, you could do Hidden Power Bug if you're still afraid of the frickin' Celebi, even though it's bad. Hidden Power Ghost for like Dusclops even. I've seen crazy stuff. You can run Double Edge, like you can run Toxic, you can run Rest, you can run Counter. Counter is cool to try to beat like Salamence. Just stuff like that. So Marowak in theory beats this, and this. The other thing that makes Marowak cool is with Bone Meringue, you don't lose to Counter Registeel because Counter only factors in the first hit, so it won't do that much damage back. So you can usually like Swords Dance, Swords Dance, Swords Dance into Bone Meringue. I'll show you what one you might usually look like. This is from a sample team by Tom. Yeah, so this is what a Marowak usually looks like. I think every Marowak should be different. Like, Marowak is one of those Pokemon that you should take the time yourself to EV, because there isn't anything like 100% solid. This probably is speed creeping something. You usually want to run a good amount of defense to be able to tank some hits. This one specifically is for Heracross, I guess, so that you can Hidden Power Flying and then live the reversal, which is cool. I honestly see no reason not to run Aerial Ace though and switch Rock Slide to Hidden Power Rock. I think that's more solid, but yeah, you can run a lot of cool stuff. Anyway, let's move on to the next set of Pokemon. So these I would say are the 6 best, but these are not far behind, especially Salamence. Salamence in Generation 3 is really good because of its access to Intimidate, and because it's such a physically oriented metagame, because there's only Choice Band and not Choice Specs, and also physical moves just have much better power in Generation 3. I'd say this is the most common set, and this is one of those sets that, like, it's common, but it's not bad to use. Like, Hidden Power Flying is its best flying stab because Gen 3 things. You run Earthquake, you run Rock Slide for like Moltres and Zapdos in case they're slow, and you run Brick Break to kill Tyranitar. This is the standard Salamence set. However, I think it's good to get more creative. Let me show you this beauty. So this set This is a very interesting set. The EVs with the 220 HP and the 44 SPDEF. This is so. This is basically a Salamence that's trying to beat Pokemon that usually run HP Ice, because a lot of Raikous or Zapdoses might try to run Hidden Power Ice, and Jolteon to try to like counter Salamence. And this is SPDEF to tank a lot of those weak Hidden Power Ices, even from things like Houndoom, so that you can Dragon Dance, and then I can Earthquake both Raikou and Jolteon, and use Hidden Power Rock to beat Zapdos. So that's what makes this interesting, is that I'm sacrificing the Flying Stab to beat Zapdos and Raikou. And then because I can't run Hidden Power Flying, and I beat Tyranitar anyway with 2 Earthquakes, I think Substitute is useful over just in general to like not lose to like random toxic Pokemon or just stuff in general, and make use of leftovers recovery. So yeah, this is what you can do with Salamence. You can also run a really whack special attacking set I've seen, because Salamence's special coverage is kind of nuts. Like, it has Hydro Pump, has Fire Blast, it technically has the... Does it get Outrage in this game? No, it doesn't. That's funny. You technically have Dragon Claw. I guess like you can make use of 110 special attack, but I think it's really bad. Yeah, it's just really bad. Very solid Pokemon. A very good fighting check. Next, we have one of my favorite Pokemon, and I think is stupidly good, is Alakazam. What makes Alakazam so good is its high speed. It outspeeds Raikou and speed ties Sceptile. And its high special attack, and Alakazam has insane coverage in Gen 3 because all the elemental punches are special. So it has access to Fire Punch, Ice Punch, Thunder Punch, and of course like Psychic. Like, these are all really good. I wouldn't recommend an all-out attacking Alakazam. I think the 2 best Alakazam sets utilize Calm Mind. Well, one of them is Calm Mind, I'd say Recover, Encore, and Psychic. You can throw on Ice Punch to have a better chance versus like Sceptile and Salamence, but I think Encore is extremely good, because think about it, like against a Registeel, if it clicks anything but Seismic Toss, you Encore and then you can win by breaking through it slowly. And if it clicks Seismic Toss, you have Recover to heal your HP. So that's what makes Calm Mind Alakazam really good, because it's a very solid check to things like Raikou or Zapdos. Because even if they click Toxic, you have Synchronize. So that's also really, really clutch. So yeah, this is a very good set. Just a solid Pokemon in general. You can run Barrier Recover with Seismic Toss or Psychic. This is really cool for trying to check Pokemon like Marowak or like Swampert or Salamence with, and even Metagross. Yeah, so the EVs on this set is so I outspeed 252 plus. So I outspeed 252 plus base 100s like Salamence and Flygon, and then I maximized my defenses. This is like optimal spread. While also keeping a even HP number for leftovers. So this is supposed to beat a lot of the physical attackers in the tier and lure them in, like Marowak, like I said before. However, it is prone to crits, so that also kind of sucks, and you lose to things that you usually would beat, like Zapdos and Raikou. But again, Alakazam is just super versatile. Like, it's often a good third Pokemon on teams if you need like some special coverage and also just a fast, solid Pokemon in general. Like the power of fast Encore cannot be overstated. It is so useful. Swampert is next. Swampert is a very, very solid Pokemon in the tier. It can be considered a solid check to things like Raikou, Tyranitar, Metagross, Registeel, Marowak. It's very, very anti-top Pokemon, I guess. Usually with a Curse set, with like Curse, Earthquake, and Rest are your go-tos. Some people like Ice Beam to not have to worry about like stalling out Salamence critting you, and also not have trouble with Dragon Dance. I've seen Sub I've seen Toxic, I've seen Rock Slide, I've seen you can run a lot of you can run Hydro Pump with Torrent. That's actually really cool. I've seen sets like that. I like Rollout though, and let me show you why. So Rollout is a very cool tech that I came up with. That what Rollout does is it's anti-pressure stall. So basically, Rollout is here to give me a chance versus Zapdos if it's not carrying HP Grass. Because the cool thing about Rollout is it has 32 power points, but every cycle of Rollout is only one usage. So you can hit them multiple times and only one power point goes away. So it helps it really solidly beat Zapdos with the outplaying it. It's hard to use, but I really like Rollout as the other option. As you can also run Swampert's really good at surprising people. You could run a Choice Band set with like Earthquake, Rock Slide, I don't know, just like crazy stuff like that, and counter. Swampert also has access to Mirror Coat to surprise some people that might be running Hidden Power Grass. Hidden Power Grass is this thing's bane. Next, Heracross is definitely the tier's best fighting type, and honestly, you don't even have to think. This is probably its best set. This is what you do. You run Adamant, you run Salac Berry, Swords Dance, Endure, Reversal, Megahorn. So what makes this set so good is that, in my opinion, it really, really rewards outplaying opponents. So like, it's like, you know, like enduring at the right time to get the Salac Berry reversal. It also makes use of Swarm with Megahorn to do stupid amounts of damage. It can set up on things with Megahorn. It breaks through Alakazam pretty easily because you should be bulking for a Psychic. Just a really good Pokemon in general. You stomp like things like Blissey, usually Sceptile. You can and like, to show how good it is, that's why a lot of Pokemon run Aerial Ace, because of just how good Heracross is and how it forces so many 50-50s and outplaying. So yeah, I really like Heracross. I think I made a special set Heracross I built for Classic. I've gotten much better at Gen 3 since then, but still I think it's solid. The idea was I wanted to outspeed base 20s after I got a Salac Berry boost, so notable ones, of course, including Alakazam and Sceptile are base 120. And then because of that, you also outspeed base 115s. I threw in this HP and special defense to beat a Calm Mind Jirachi that I saw my opponent running. So I kind of prepped for that. Like, look, like if I go, say I go Alakazam, Calm Mind Sweeper. Aha, there you go. You see that? It actually just was for Alakazam. So you take an Alakazam Psychic. So that's really, really good. So the reason I wanted to have that is so I didn't have to play the 50-50 of, do I endure on the Alakazam as they Psychic, or do I click Megahorn as they Calm Mind so that they can Encore the endure. So this is just eliminating a single 50-50, but when you're using Heracross, you're still going to be having to like outplay your opponent. Anyway, next, go to what everybody thinks is the nightmare of Generation 3 because of infinite Blissey stall battles. But that's just people getting a single look at the tier and not actually looking deeper into the tier. So Blissey is a problem. It is very, very good. I'd say this is its best set. You would think Soft Boiled, that can be used, but I think Rest is better for Toxic and PP stall. But you can throw on Soft Boiled on there, that's fine. Leaves you less prone to crits anyway. Max defense. Yeah, you take a Meteor Mash from Metagross. You can tank like just stuff from like Salamence, obviously, and whatever. Ice Beam is your best special stab, not stab. Oh, and you also run Serene Grace. That's also why it's annoying. Serene Grace Ice Beam freezes. Ugh. And it is very important that you have an answer to it, because you don't want to get into like these random infinite battles. Next, we have Sceptile. This Pokemon is totally slept on. This thing is way, way better than most people think. It has two viable sets. You have the Leech Seed stall one with Substitute Protect, and most people run Leaf Blade. It's solid, but I think there's a better move, which I'll talk about later. And then the other technique that Sceptile uses is Substitute, Leaf Blade, Hidden Power Ice, and then like you can run like any other thing you want. But the idea behind this set, which is on Tom's sample team, is with this set right here, you can substall, or you can, again, you don't need Protect, that's literally pointless. With this idea, you can sub, and then get a Pataya Berry boost, and with Hidden Power Ice, KO Salamence, so you're trying to lure Salamence. You also then solidly beat like Swampert, and Overgrow Leaf Blade with +1 special attack hits like really, really hard. Let me show you the power that is Seismic Toss, frickin' Sceptile. This is the GOAT set. So the EVs, 302, this is the outspeed things like this. No invest base 100s, and 302 so that I can outspeed the Pokemon trying to outspeed those Pokemon. And then you just go defensive Sceptile. What this does is you Leech Seed on stuff, and then you Protect, Substitute, and win. That's literally what you do. But Seismic Toss is the really cool technique, because with Seismic Toss plus Leech Seed, you actually beat Registeel. Registeel can't do anything about it. Like, you just beat it with Leech Seed plus Seismic Toss, which I think is very, very cool. And Seismic Toss can also still usually beat most Swampert. However, there is one very interesting tidbit. So Leech Seed plus Seismic Toss will always beat a Swampert unless the Swampert is running more than 400 HP, because Seismic Toss always does 100 HP, and if Seismic Toss doesn't 4-hit KO with the Leech Seed plus the leftovers, like the Leech Seed interacting with the leftovers, Swampert will be left at 1 HP, and then it can rest again, and it'll stall out your Seismic Tosses, and Sceptile will lose because then it can't attack. So that's kind of sad. So yeah, so that's kind of an interesting tidbit. You can, of course, still run Leaf Blade to have a more solid matchup versus like Bone Meringue, Marowak, and Leaf Blade is just, again, very solid versus Swampert because you're going to win. Let's go on to the next tier. The third tier, in my opinion, we have Jolteon is the first one. Jolteon is a tech that I came up with. It's very, very cool. Basically, it's an electric type that beats Raikou and Zapdos. And how does it beat Raikou and Zapdos? Well,